Hello and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat. Today we're going to be reviewing the Olympics, all the action from the women's football at the Olympics. An exciting tournament, wasn't it, Harry?
Yeah, very much so. It was a surprising tournament in some aspects, very exciting, a lot of drama. We saw a lot of stoppage time drama, certain teams getting knocked out. It was thoroughly enjoyable to watch. It was definitely not what we expected, and I think that was the main takeaway from the Olympics is going into the tournament, we sat there, everyone went Spain-US final, that'll be fun, that'll be it, but that wasn't. That's not how it played out, and that was the big thing for me. It was great to see a bit of a surprise run.
There was lots of big surprises, lots of big storylines. We're going to do most reviews going chronological order. We're flipping the script on that today, and we're going to start at the rear. Don't know if that really works, but we're going to start the final. USA winning the tournament. Are they back? Under Emma Hayes, are they back at the top?
They were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant at this Olympics. You're putting some of the best players in the world with one of the best managers in the world. It was bound to work, and it has. Delivering already. Hayes bringing gold back to the US. It speaks volumes, doesn't it? And you ask if they're back. First tournament, won the major honour. Job done. And looking forward into the next major international competitions, things are looking bright for the USA. They played really good football. Best players shone. That front three of Smith, Swanson and Rodman was superb. I was thoroughly impressed by the USA.
Yeah, I think it was an explosion onto the world stage for Swanson because everyone had heard of Smith, everyone knew Trinity Rodman, and there was a lot of excitement there. But Mallory Swanson is someone who I know Americans will be going, oh, she's incredible, we've loved her for years. But I think for a lot of people across the globe who don't watch the NWSL, they won't have known of her very much. So there was a real explosion in this tournament where she was absolutely phenomenal. And obviously she wasn't a USWNT starter because Alex Morgan was there for so long. She's come into this tournament and she absolutely tore it apart. So fantastic tournament for her. Sophia Smith and Trinity Rodman, both quality as well. I do think that there were still some aspects of US that were missing, but that's expected.
Yeah.
The final was Hayes' 10th game. She's having a trophy every 10 matches. She's incredible. But yeah, I do think that Rodman had some tough games. I think she had incredible glimpses, but in the games where she didn't score a goal, or even in the games she did score a goal, most of the match she didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But then she'd come alive and score that goal. And there are a lot of play. You can be like that, but as long as you always score that goal, you have a good game.
And the luxury for the USA is that if one of the front three was off their game, the other two would just rip the other team apart. And that is the position they're in. It's such a high quality side. Emma Hayes has set them up superbly at this tournament. They thoroughly deserved the gold medal. They were really good in the final. Swanson with taking the goal in the end, a very well taken goal. It is a worrying prospect from other nations that the USA could be back to their best and they could be high flying. We look forward to World Cup 27 in a few years' time. That could be a big tournament for the USA.
Yeah, it's be funny when they get smoked by the Lionesses in November up the England. But yeah, I think that US look very good. I still have some concerns over their defence. I think that at times this tournament they're a little bit porous.
Yeah.
And I think against stronger opposition, not they didn't play great teams, but they didn't play Spain they didn't play Spain, and Spain were terrible. We're going to get into Spain in a bit. Spain were great at this tournament. Germany looked good, and Germany did score against them in their group game. Obviously, in the knockout game, it was a 0-0 draw, and then the US got a late goal. Yeah. So I do think they were better defensively in that game. But when teams came at the USA and attacked them, they did look a little bit more open.
I mean, look at the final. Alyssa Naya made 3 world-class saves in that game to keep the game at 0-0. And I do think Germa was solid at the back there, and Naya in net was a very big reason why the USA did as well as they did. The rest of I think Fox had a good tournament. Yeah, I think it's hard to blame it on personnel because I'm not going to go, Sonnet had a bad tournament or
she didn't.
Exactly
had a good tournament. So it's difficult to judge.
As a team, it wasn't gelling well defensively, and I think what the main problem is that teams would get as far as Germa, as far as Naya, and then it looked worse because they were the ones that were stopping it. Just because it was a last-ditch tackle or a phenomenal save.
When you look at how Hayes plays and you see that 3-1-4-2 type shape that they create by Dunn going forwards, Fox sitting into a situational back three, Rodman, Dunn holding the width, and you get that or almost like it's a 3-3-4, probably the best way to put it, because you get that front four almost. I think when you see that, there is a lot of space to counter-attack. And when a team doesn't know how to play that system, you can see Dunn get caught out. You can see the midfield, wondering where their options are. But once the US fully learn that system, it's going to be a frightening prospect.
Exactly.
But equally, you look at that quarter-final, and if Mina Tanaka scores any of her 15 chances, I think Japan could have won that game.
Maybe.
And US didn't really like scoring in normal time.
I think it's one of those where you have to look at it from a bit quite a wide point of view. Even Chelsea, who knew Hayes' system so well, sometimes they had to rely on a huge tackle from Millie Bright or a brilliant save from Ann-Katrin Berger or a Musovic.
Or Hampton.
Or Hampton, however many goalkeepers you want to name. But so I definitely think that's okay. That's how Hayes plays. That's why she plays so well, because her teams play on the edge. They play right on the edge because they want to win the game so badly. That's why she wins trophies, because they give it everything. It's very risky, but it's high risk, high reward with Emma Hayes. And clearly, the reward was there to see at this tournament.
Because they won the gold medal, so you can't really complain with that.
Exactly.
Let's move on to Brazil then, silver medalists at this tournament. I think once they got to the final, obviously there was a lot of disappointment they didn't go and win the gold, especially given it's Mark's last tournament. She's never won a gold medal. I think there's a lot of disappointment there. However, when you take this tournament in totality and you consider their expectations going into it, a silver medal is incredible. It's incredible. I think the issue with my issue with football at the Olympics is that the silver medal in the Olympics is huge.
Yeah.
For every other athlete, but silver medal in football indicates failure, not success most of the time. We always talk about the winners, we don't talk about who finished second, but a silver medal in the Olympics is an incredible achievement, usually. So I do think that's my issue I don't think football suits the Olympics, but silver medal still for Brazil. They had a fantastic tournament. They took the game to some huge teams. They got all the way to the final and they were unlucky to lose to the US.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? For me, if we're being honest, I don't think many people even had Brazil in the conversation for a medal at the start of the tournament.
They lost to Spain and Japan, and they were lucky against Nigeria.
The groups were tough, but the knockouts were something different. I think the France game, they were brilliant in. They can thank Leite a lot for that one, saving the penalty after Tatiana just wiped out.
Cascarino. Cascarino got in behind Tatiana and took her out.
It was a brilliant save to save the penalty. I think Brazil got fortunate in that game, and then obviously it was Portillo who's got the goal in the end, a well taken goal. But that was a fortunate game. Got to the semi-finals. We thought that is brilliant. Great to see Brazil. Final four. They've got Spain. They'll be happy to play in the third round match. No, they won't. What a game! The Spain game was outstanding from Brazil in every department. Defensively, they were brilliant. Going forward, they punished Spain most of the time. They could have probably had more, to be completely honest.
Yeah, definitely. They only got 4 in the end.
I think the big thing to say is that Brazil did brilliant. Congratulations to Marta and everyone getting a silver medal. Phenomenal achievement. Beating Spain was a brilliant game. However, that Spain game, yes, Brazil were brilliant, but that is the worst Spain performance I have seen in the last few years.
Well, they did then play terribly against Germany as well.
They did also do that. I think that was slightly better.
Brazil was worse. Let's talk about Spain then.
Wow.
Terrible in that semi-final. And the thing is, they looked good in the groups. They were very dominant in the group stage. I think in their quarter-final match, who did they play again?
Colombia, they were 2-0 down, and they got saved in that one by Paredes in the 98th minute. So that one was another poor performance. When I watched the quarter-final, I thought it's something you always say is that winners win. Even in tough games, even in bad games, they get across the line. They'll use that. They'll take that into the Brazil game. They'll learn what happened in the quarter-final, and they'll be back to their best in the semi-final. That did not transpire. It only got worse. Terrible in every department. The attack went missing in the semi-final. The defence was in absolute tatters. From Catalina Cole smashing it into her own centre-halves to Paredes and co passing it and handing Brazil goals. It was a shambles from Spain. And there's a lot of work to do, because then that even carried on to the bronze medal match, and to come away without to be the reigning world champions coming into the Olympics, not coming home with a medal, that is a huge failure, and there's got to be questions asked.
Yeah, it's a real catalogue of errors, and I think a lot of the blame rightfully is put on the defence because they made huge errors, and a lot put on Montserrat Tormo, because how do you take a side that would won the World Cup, looked brilliant in that tournament. How do you then take them to the Olympics and mess up that badly?
Yeah.
So lots of question marks there. However, what I will say is that the attackers are sort of not like they're scapegoating the attackers' poor performances by talking only about the defence and the manager. I'm not going to ignore the fact that for large parts of the tournament, Bonmati was completely missing. She had a good group stage. The knockout stage, she just didn't show up. Salma Paralluelo once again went missing on the big stage. I don't think she can play as a central striker in the Liga F, where the standard is a little bit lower. It's not terrible, but it is lower.
Yeah.
And you can play her through the middle and she'll score a load of goals, as she does.
Yeah.
We saw it in the Champions League this season. We're seeing it again in the Olympics. She can't play as a central striker when you're playing against really good opposition. She got bullied by Tarciani in that semi-final. Absolutely bullied.
I think anyone would.
That is true. She's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
But still, I think that their attackers were very quiet this tournament. Putellas, that was a strange decision to bench her against Brazil.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of people saying, if they started Putellas, they would have won. They wouldn't. Putellas doesn't stop Catalina Coles smashing into the back of Paredes, but she might have got a goal back. So it's difficult to argue. But I think that Spain this tournament just didn't get it right in any of their games. They made huge defensive errors. They just looked off it.
I think for me, the important thing is I don't think you can blame one single person or department. I think the blame lies on everyone involved in the team. Management, defence, front line. That there were so many problems. You can't people will say sack the manager. People will say bench this player, drop this player. It won't change a thing. It was an absolute mess from everybody in a Spain shirt during the knockouts. They will learn for it. They are winners. They're reigning world champions for a reason. They have some of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. They will bounce back in next year at the Euros. They will come back, and they will come back stronger, and that is something we have to be aware of. I think for Spain, it was a massive blip at this Olympics, a huge failure. But what do winners do? Winners learn from failure, and they will come back and they'll be looking to take that European title. There's a reason that Spain, across men and women's football, hold 9 major titles at the moment. They're a very, very good team. They will be back. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens to them going forward. I think, a lot of thinking to do, but realistically, they should end up coming back.
Yeah, so I was just trying to find out if Teresa Avalera, because I was going to say, Teresa Avalera, the only player at that tournament for Spain who can hold her head high. I was trying to see if she'd signed a new club, because I thought I remember seeing her leaving on a free from Real Madrid. There's nothing on her leaving, so I don't know if she's still at Real Madrid. But fantastic tournament. She's the only player that can hold her head high. But Spain, awful.
Very much so.
Absolutely awful.
And that was shown not only by Brazil, but also by Germany as well.
Yes, nice segue into Germany. Back to their best potentially. They looked decent in that game against the USA. They really took the game to them. And I think the progression from what was a really disappointing group stage game, where they got torn apart by USA, and it would have been worse if Guila Guin didn't manage to smash one in from range. And then you look at that semi-final performance where it was disciplined and it was, they fought really hard, and then beating Spain as well, it was really positive, and they look a lot closer to that 2022 side. Yeah. Obviously, they had to rely on, in that bronze medal match, on a penalty, and then Ann-Katrin Berger saving a penalty, but when you have Berger, you can rely on that.
Exactly. I think in the semi-final, at the end, they were brilliant. At the end of the day, quality prevailed. They can't do anything about that. In that scenario, I think you have to admit that USA are just a better team overall at the moment. So for Germany, I don't think they'll have any problem with losing that semi-final. To come away with bronze from this Olympics is a brilliant achievement, and huge congratulations to Germany and Horst Rubrecht, who was brilliant. 70-odd years of age, popped over to France, have a good tournament, and they managed really well. The group stage was, apart from the USA, they were really strong in the group stage. The quarter-final, tough game against Canada, and we'll talk about her now. Ann-Katrin Berger, one of the players of the tournament, if not the player of the tournament. Brilliant, not only in the shootout, but in normal time against USA, in the whole game against Spain, especially saving that penalty from Putellas. The Canada shootout, overall, a brilliant tournament for Ann-Katrin Berger.
Yeah, she was absolutely remarkable throughout it, and I think that, a lot of people doubted her. She left Chelsea under a bit of a cloud. It was a bit of a backdoor sale. She left in February and she hadn't played for a few months. But she's been really reliable at Gotham, really good at Gotham, and she's come into this tournament and played well. We know how good Berger is. Yeah. This isn't a surprise. No. She was fantastic against Canada, saved the penalty against Putellas in the bronze medal match. Phenomenal goalkeeper. And I think that Germany played very well this tournament. And looking ahead to Euro 2025, where Netherlands are operating off of a back foot. Will Roord be fit in time for that tournament? If she's not, I think that's very difficult for Netherlands. Even if she is. She's only going to be back because she got injured in February. So even if she manages to recover by Christmas this year, which would still be difficult, and even if she gets back by Christmas, that's still only 6 months for her to get back fit. Obviously, you'd expect her to therefore be at the tournament, but it's still not that long. I think, so Netherlands, we don't really know where they are at the moment. We haven't seen them play any competitive football for a while.
Yeah.
England, you think, would still be up there. You think Spain will still be strong, but after that, we don't really know where France lie. They were okay at this tournament in the groups, and then they just couldn't finish their chance against Brazil. So I think there's a lot of unknowns out there. And Germany, another one where they've got a really exciting young squad, still spearheaded by the aging Alexandra Popp, but still a fantastic footballer.
Yeah.
And so, I think Germany are in a good position now to really push on and see what they can do in Switzerland.
Yeah, very much so. Very much on the up. I think, obviously, Pop still, absolute servant. Berger was quality. Gwyn was outstanding at this tournament. A really strong display from her. And I think, for a Germany note, very excited to see her at the Euros next year. From a personal note for her, hopefully she can have a really strong campaign with Bayern Munich, not only domestically but also on the European stage.
Obviously Bayern competing at the sharp end this year.
That, and hopefully that will translate. Germany succeeding should directly translate to Bayern Munich doing well.
Considering most of the players I've played for Bayern are Wolfsburg. And Wolfsburg, back in the Champions League, they weren't in it last year, they got knocked out in qualifiers. Let's get them back in the Champions League.
Yes, let's do. Let's see some German domestic success alongside their international success.
Yes, indeed. We want to see some of those big clubs in the Champions League. We want to see the English clubs get through as well. We want to see a competitive Champions League next year. The last thing I've got noted down to talk about is Canada, because I don't think you can do a review of this Olympics without talking about the whole scandal that dominated the news headlines to start the tournament. So Canada won all 9 matches in the group stage, but a 6-point deduction for illegal use of drones to watch other teams' training sessions left them with only 3 points. They still managed to qualify. But incredible team spirit to bounce back from that. I thought once they won every group game, well, here we go, Canada are going to win the tournament, and the IOC would have egg on their face.
Yeah.
But then they just lost to Germany, and that dream was over. But what a crazy story.
I mean, to come in as reigning gold medalists, it was one hell of a tournament to try and defend your gold medal, and they were nowhere near it. I mean, obviously, the drone thing is simple. Don't use drones. And obviously, they were managerless technically after Priestman was.
Because they lost Priestman and their assistant and the drone man, who was a data analyst. So they're very short staff this tournament. But
they just really got to get through the quarters, and they lost to a very good Germany side. We can't judge. We can't judge Canada off what we saw at this Olympics because it was an absolute mess.
But they were phenomenal in the groups.
They were brilliant.
And if it weren't for the fact that Anne-Katrine Berger can save anything, I think that maybe Canada would have gone deeper. Yeah. And if they play USA, do they give them a tough game in that semi final?
Potentially.
Who knows?
I just think that they shot themselves in the foot. They marred their really good squad and really good performances. Because they fancied using some drones.
And now, of course, it tars potentially their 2020 gold medal because a lot of people are saying, well, they used drones this time. Did they use them back then? There's rumours they may have. There's nothing confirmed.
They had a really poor World Cup. This was their tournament to bounce back. And on the pitch, they were brilliant. And it was like, okay, Canada, on the pitch, they're back. They're playing really good football again. Their high-quality players are performing. And then, bosh, it was all flown up in the air because... Well, they decided to spy on New Zealand. I don't understand.
Of all teams.
Yeah, I don't get why you'd use drones.
If you're going to cheat, watch what Hayes is doing. Yeah. They cheated and copied New Zealand.
Yeah, I don't get it. But, they'll be back in, again, international tournaments coming over the next few years. Hopefully they can take the on-the-pitch stuff and perform. Don't know what's going to happen to Priestman, whether she'll be back, whether her ban after a year and she'll come back, or whether they won't employ her again.
Who knows?
I'd be surprised if they employed her again. I don't know
because Priestman wasn't the one who used the drone. She knew about it and she used the data, but I
don't think we're seeing the data analyst again.
I can't imagine he's going to be working in football.
No, go join the NY5 or something, mate.
Bielsa used drone. No, Bielsa didn't use drones. Bielsa went up to a hedge and had a look through it. So
do that instead.
Sneak in the hedges. But so I'm gonna finish with 2 big predictions. Who are your favourites for Euro 2025?
Yeah,
and who are your favourites for World Cup 27?
I think World Cup 27 is an easier answer. I'm going to say USA. It's hard to predict because that is 3 years away. A lot could happen in 3 years. We don't know what the circumstances will be going into the tournament. If you ask me now, USA are my favourites for World Cup 2027. I think Emma Hayes with the USWNT, it's bound to happen, isn't it? For Euros, that's more difficult because Spain were a shambles, but we haven't seen England play at this Olympics. We haven't seen England play in a national tournament for a year now. And they weren't great at the World Cup. I think
they were finalists. They didn't play very well, but they were finalists.
I think obviously we've got international friendlies coming out over the next couple of months between England, Germany, England, USA. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say England because they're the reigning champions of the Euros. But Spain are gonna be there, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's very difficult to judge. I think the thing is, I don't think Spain are very good at this tournament. So I think a lot of it relies on, do they get rid of Tomei? Does she stay?
Yeah.
Looking at 2025. I think we could see a rogue winner in Switzerland. I think we could see someone like a France just appear out of nowhere and win it. I think we could see a Germany win it. I'm going to say England because I'm biased.
Yeah.
I think we're going to win it all.
Subscribe and then you can hear our actual predictions in
a year's time.
Yeah, 11 months' time.
10 months
10
maybe.
months'
Who
time.
knows?
Oh.
But yeah, so look out for that in a year. But yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. 2027 then, World Cup. I think the US look very strong. I think England will give them a very good go, though.
It's hotting up, which is what I like.
Spain aren't going anywhere, are they?
We had US dominance, then they completely fell off, and England, Spain, and the likes came through. I feel like now we're hitting a period where they're both level.
Yeah.
Where we're seeing USA and North America level with Europe. World Cup 27 could be a huge battle.
Hats off to Vlado Andonovski.
Well done.
Because he's the only man who managed to make USA absolutely terrible.
If it weren't for him, Hayes wouldn't be in the job. So, that
is very true. But yeah, should be very interesting to see what happens over the next few years. I think the international stage is it's a very interesting mix now. I think there's a lot of clubs in contention for these titles. So it's going to be very interesting international tournaments in 2025 and 2027. So I'm very excited for the next few years. Of course, we've got the domestic season kicking off in a little over a month now in England. We'll be covering pre-season friendlies in the coming weeks, so look out for all of those. But that is everything from us today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. We're trying to grow this channel as big as possible to reach as many people as possible because we love talking about the women's game and we want to interact with you guys, so get involved as well in the comments below. But that is everything from us today. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.